Hello everyone, welcome to I Love Physics. I hope you've gone through the last lectures. We'll be continuing the lecture based on optics. Till then, stay connected, like, comment, and share. Thank you. We've already discussed the formula for object placed between the plane inclined mirrors. That is, we have to find n, which is equal to 360 degree divided by the angle of inclination, which is 38 degrees here, and we get the answer as 9.47. In the previous slides I've shown you what are the conditions. Now here we do not get a perfect integer, so what we'll be doing is rounding off the number of images formed, which is now as we get here the small n's value is 9.47, so we'll round off it to 9. So the number of images formed is 9. Now in the question it is given that the angle is gradually increased to 41 degrees. Initially the angle between the plane mirrors was 38 degrees and later it was increased to 41 degrees. Beyond 40 degree, as 360 degree divided by 40 gives 9, exactly the integral value 9. Beyond 40 degree, what will be the value of n is, it will be greater than n, and it decreases up to 8.78 for theta is equal to 41 degrees. So after 41 degrees the number of images formed will be 8, and initially number of images formed were 9. So when the angle is increased from 38 degrees to 41 degrees, the number of images formed by the mirrors inclined at these angles will decrease to 8. Similarly, the next problem is we have to estimate the number of images formed if a tiny object is kept in between two plane mirrors which are inclined at 35 degree, 36 degree, 40 degrees and 45 degree. Now here 4 degrees of inclination, 4 angles of inclination are given. We have to find the number of images for each angle. The formula will be same, that is small n is equal to 360 degree divided by the angle of inclination. Now for 35 degree we get the number of images as 10. Here also we have rounded off the number to integral value. Second, for angle of inclination as 36 degree, we get exactly the small n as 10. The rules for number of images, just go through it once. I'll show you that if small n is even and object is placed anywhere, you can see here the number of images will be equal to n minus 1. Whereas if n is odd and the object is placed exactly at the angle bisector, then also the number of images will be n minus 1. But if n is odd and object's position is not specified, that is object may be anywhere in between the two mirrors, then the number of images formed will be equal to the small n which is obtained. So here we get n as even, so the number of images will be n minus 1, that is 10 minus 1, which is 9. Now for the third case, that is theta is equal to 40 degrees, we get small n is equal to 9. Now 9 is an odd number, so the number of images formed will be 9 or 8. Since the object's position here is not mentioned, so it may be exactly at the angle bisector or anywhere between the two mirrors. So when it is exactly at the angle bisector, our condition is that number of images formed will be n minus 1. So for that case, the number of images will be 9 minus 1, that is 8. And if it is anywhere between the two plane mirrors except the angle bisector, then the number of images formed will be n equal to 9. Okay. The last angle of inclination which is given is theta is equal to 45 degrees. Now here we get exactly n equal to 8, which is even. Again, number of images formed will be n minus 1. For even, that is 7. I hope this point is clear, and it is very easy. The next part we will be considering is reflection from curved surface. In the previous lectures, I have shown you the sign conventions used, which are going to be very important henceforth. So go through it, and also I have explained the reflection from plane surface, after which you will be easily getting this point. Now, when we use the plane surface and curved surface, the plane surface or the plane mirror is used or can be used only when the object is placed at a finite distance from the mirror. Okay, now if you want to obtain an image which is far away from the mirror, you cannot collect the beam of light as you can collect for the curved surface. So curved surface is used for the light which are coming from very far distances, or which are diverging in nature, like the sun rays which you obtain are coming from a source which is far away, like it is the distance of the sun from the earth is very large, so the light rays coming appear to be parallel rays. So let me tell you that the light rays which are coming from infinitely or a distance which cannot be measured easily, from that distance the light rays appear to be parallel, whereas when you consider the light rays coming from a finite or a tiny object, that is a point object which is very small, the light rays behave like coming from a single point or from a converging point, after which they pass through the reflecting surface. Now the curved mirrors are available mostly, or which are mostly used, are spherical mirrors which have curved surface that are polished on one side of the mirrors, that is in which the spherical mirror in which the inner part of the surface are polished. These are the reflecting surface. The inner part is the reflecting surface, whereas outer part is the hard surface. These type of spherical mirrors are called as the convex mirrors, whereas the spherical mirrors in which the outer surfaces are polished for reflection and the inner part is hard, this is known as concave mirrors. For example, if you take a stainless spoon and try to obtain your image through it, the inner part of the spoon acts as a convex mirror, whereas the outer part of the spoon act as a concave mirror, and depending upon the position of the spoon from your face or from the object you want the image to form, that is varying depending upon the distance, which you will be seeing in the coming lecture. Now the concave mirrors are also called as converging mirror, since the rays converge after falling on the concave mirror. Now let me specify you that, go through the previous lecture, I've told you about the concave and convex lenses, which are exactly opposite to the concave and convex mirrors. In the lens part, the convex lens is considered as the converging lens, whereas in the mirrors, concave mirror is considered as the converging mirror. So don't confuse between the two concepts. The mirror is different part, whereas the lens is different. Here the concave mirrors are the converging ones and the convex mirrors are the diverging ones, because the rays appear to diverge after falling on the convex mirror. Now we'll be seeing about the image formed by the concave and the convex mirrors. First, let me distinguish between the concave mirror and the convex mirror. As I said, in the concave mirror, the reflecting surface is the inner surface of the sphere. So the inner surface is polished for undergoing reflection, whereas in the convex mirror, the reflecting surface is at the outer surface of the sphere. Concave mirror is converging mirror, as it converges the rays at a single point, which is the focal point. All the definitions regarding the ray optics have been discussed in the previous lectures. The focal point is the point where all the rays converge in the converging mirror or the converging lens. The points in concept of lenses or mirror is the same, whereas the diverging mirror, that is the convex mirror, diverges the rays after getting reflected from the surface. The concave mirror has negative focal point towards the left of the pole. Now, according to the sign conventions, we have seen that any distance which is measured from the center of the lens or the center of the mirror towards the left side and towards the bottom or downwards of the lens or the mirror are considered as negative, whereas the distances which are measured towards the right side of the lens or the mirror and above the lens or the mirror are considered as positive. These sign conventions are also discussed in the earlier lecture. So in the concave mirror, as the inner surface is reflecting, so the object will be placed towards the left side and the focal distance is, or the focal point is towards the left side of the pole, which is negative, whereas in the convex mirror the focal point is towards the right side of the pole. The focal distance is the distance where parallel rays converge in the concave mirror, whereas in the convex mirror the focal distance is the distance from where parallel rays appear to diverge. Now when the parallel rays are incident over the convex surface, they diverge and they diverge towards the same side of the light beam. That is, when the light beam is incident from the left side, it gets diverges toward the left side, but at the opposite side of the mirror, that is behind the mirror in the right side, the beam or the rays appear to converge. So the point of convergence, that is the focal point, is at the right side of the mirror, so the focal point in the convex mirror is positive, whereas in the concave mirror is negative. The image formed in the concave mirror may be real or virtual, erect or inverted, and enlarged or diminished depending upon the position of object. Now we'll be discussing this in the further part, that is, the image which is formed by the concave mirror depends upon the position of the object which is placed in front of the mirror. It may be placed on the focal point, it may be placed on the center of curvature, it may be placed in between the center of curvature and focal point, and many more possibilities are there. So depending upon that, the image may be real or virtual. Now what is real image and virtual image is, a real image can be obtained over the screen, whereas the virtual image cannot be obtained on the screen. As you saw in the plane reflection from the plane surface, when you see your image in the mirror, you cannot obtain it over a screen. It can be seen only when the object is placed. You can see your image, but you cannot obtain it over the screen. So the image formed in that case is virtual image, whereas the real image can be obtained over the screen. Now the image may be erect or inverted. Erect is the same as you obtained in the reflection from plane surface. As it is, the image is formed, whereas in some cases you obtain an inverted image, and the image may be enlarged or diminished. The size of the image can be smaller than the actual object, or larger than the actual object. In the convex mirror, the image obtained is always virtual, erect, and diminished, irrespective of the position of object. Wherever you place the object, the image form will be always virtual, erect, and diminished one. Now we use concave mirror in headlights, searchlights, or where we need to see magnified objects, as it is used in, as it is a converging mirror. It focuses the light beam towards a point where we want to observe something. So it is used in the headlights or searchlights, whereas in the convex mirror is used in side view mirrors in vehicles or in the security mirrors. The convex mirror can capture wide angle objects, that is, it can observe, it enables us to look at the objects from a wider angle. That is, if you can see in the vehicle's mirrors, it is written that objects may be closer than they appear. What does it mean is, what you observe, the distance from your vehicle is less than the actual distance. That is in real, the objects are closer, but you may feel they are far away from you. This is because the convex mirror can capture wide angle objects from a far distance. So these are the differences between concave mirror and convex mirror. Now we'll be seeing the images formed by the mirrors. Here you can see the reflection from concave and convex mirror. This is just a overview. Now on the left side you can see the reflection from concave surface. Here the reflecting surface is the inner surface, as you can see, and in the right side you can see the convex mirror where the outer surface is the reflecting one. When the object is placed in front of the concave mirror beyond the center of curvature, you obtain an inverted and diminished image, as you can see. And for convex mirror, when the object is placed in front of the convex mirror, the light rays are diverged and they appear to converge at the opposite side of the mirror, where you obtain the virtual and erect image but diminished in size. Now we'll be seeing the image formation by the concave mirror for various positions of objects. That is, by changing the position of object from the concave mirror, different types of images can be formed. As I already said you that the image obtained may vary depending upon the position of the object. So different types of image formed when the object is placed at infinity, beyond the center of curvature, at the center of curvature, between the center of curvature and principal focus, at the principal focus, or between the principal focus and pole. These are the different positions of objects where we'll be observing the image. Before learning this, you must have performed an experiment or an activity in your lower standards where you place a candle between a mirror and the screen, so that you can obtain various images of the flame of the candle depending upon its position. We'll see the setup of the experiment. First, the concave mirror is fixed and it is placed over a table. Now the screen will be constructing as a white paper or a cardboard sheet, which is placed away from the lighted candle at a distance of 50 centimeter. Now we try to obtain the image of the flame on the screen. For this, we move the screen till a sharp image of the flame is obtained. Initially, we have to set up the candle so that we obtain a sharp image of the flame of the candle. Then we'll make sure that the screen does not obstruct the light from the candle falling on the mirror. Now we'll observe whether the image is real or virtual, or the size of the flame or the image form is same as the size of the flame, or it is diminished or enlarged. We'll observe all these cases by moving the candle towards the mirror and place it at different distances from it. See, here is the actual setup. The concave mirror is placed. After that, the candle is placed and there is a white paper which acts as a screen. Initially, in the left side, you can see a sharp image is formed and the setup is formed. Later on, the candle's position is changed here and you can obtain enlarged image of the flame. So what is the condition for enlarged image, diminished image, inverted image or real image? We'll be seeing. Here is a table given which shows the image formed by concave mirror. The first column tells about the position of object. Second tells out about the position of image. Third is the nature of image, and fourth is the ray diagram. The first condition or the first situation is where the object is placed at infinity. As I said, when an object is placed at infinity, the light rays coming from the object appears to be parallel beam or the parallel rays, which you can see here. These are the parallel rays coming from the infinitely distant object, and after striking this curved surface, the light rays are focused over a point, that is a focal point, where image will be formed. Now the image formed, you can see the image formed is given in the nature of image, which is real, inverted and diminished. So we obtain a real image, inverted image and diminished in size when the object is placed at infinity. Second, when the object is placed beyond C. Now C here stands for the center of curvature. When the object is placed beyond C, the image formed here is real, inverted and diminished. As you can see, AB is the object, and when the rays from the object strikes the curved surface, that is the concave mirror, we obtain a inverted and diminished image of the object. And the third condition is where the object is placed between F, that is the focal point, and C. This is the object AB. When the light rays converge, or when the light rays pass from the object towards the mirror, we obtain a real, inverted and enlarged image. Here we obtain the enlarged image. See, the size of the object is smaller than the size of the image. So we get an enlarged image when the object is placed between focal point and the center of curvature. The next is when the object is placed at F. Exactly at the focal point the object is placed, what will happen is the image formed will be obtained at infinity. That means you cannot observe the image, although the nature of the image will be real, inverted and highly enlarged, but you cannot obtain it as it is placed at infinite distance. The last position is when the object is placed between F and P, that is focal point and the pole. Here is the object, which you can see. When the light rays pass from the object towards the mirror, it is extended towards the other side of the mirror to obtain virtual, enlarged and erect image. Whenever the image is formed at the other side of the mirror, the image formed will be the virtual image and it is enlarged and erect. The size of the image is greater than the size of the object. So these were the various positions of objects placed and the image formed for the concave mirror. Next is the relation between f, u and v. For a point object or for a small finite object, the focal length of a small spherical mirror is related to object distance and image distance as 1 upon f is equal to 1 upon u plus 1 upon v. Now, when we consider a point object, that is very small, fine, point like object or any small finite object, the focal length of the small spherical mirror. Now, what do you mean by small spherical mirror is the aperture of the mirror is small. That means the point or the surface through which the light passes is small. So the mirror is considered as small spherical mirror. It may be concave or convex mirror. Is related to object distance and the image distance as the relation between these is 1 upon f is equal to 1 upon u plus 1 upon v. This relation is very, very important. Now here we will be considering the sign conventions according to the situations given in the questions. So this is very important to solve problems related to lenses or mirrors. It may be concave or convex depending upon the types of mirrors and the position of image, position of object and positions of image. You have to consider the sign conventions and obtain the required solutions. The next is lateral magnification, which is the ratio of linear size of image to that of the object. Magnification is nothing but the image formed, whether the image formed is enlarged or diminished. It is measured perpendicular to the principal axis and it is called as the lateral magnification, denoted by m. M is nothing but the size of image upon the size of object. When the image is size of image is greater than the size of object, the ratio or the lateral magnification m will be greater than 1, and when we obtain a diminished object image, that is the image size is less than the object size, then the lateral magnification m is less than 1. So we'll stop here for today. Next lecture we'll be considering some problems depending upon this formula. Till then, go through the lecture and read your textbooks. Try to solve some problems. Till then, thank you.